Hi guys, I'm so excited to see Nutcracker with you tonight. I'm going to teach you a little bit about it and show you how our work pages work. All right, so first, the Nutcracker is written by Tchaikovsky, who the primer class studied and you all have studied before. So just to remember some information about him, he lived in the late 1800s and he was a Russian composer, and he lived at a really interesting time in Russia. Russia was being fought over by multiple countries saying, Russia belongs to us. And Russia was really trying to create their own identity. So one of the things that Russia did to try to create Russian identity is they tried to create a ballet, because in France and in England, the ballet was the big thing, right? The opera was really big in Italy. So Russia was like, well, we'll make our own ballet and we'll make our own opera. And even today, Russian ballet is phenomenal. And a lot of that is thanks to Tchaikovsky. So for a good ballet, you need good dancers, but you also need a really good composer who understands music for a ballet. So when you're writing music for a ballet, you have to write something that can be danced to. So it can't be really crazy or too boring. It has to be able to tell a story, but it also has to make sense with dance movement. So Tchaikovsky was very, very sensitive to story, and he also was very sensitive to movement and to flow. Some people even think that he might have been a dancer himself at heart, but it was kind of looked down on for men at that time to pursue dance. So Tchaikovsky started composing for ballets. He composed for the ballet Sleeping Beauty, where he took a short story that was written and created a ballet around it. And in doing so, in his music, he ended up adding a lot of the parts of the story that we still have today, like in our Disney movies about Sleeping Beauty. In fact, most of the music in the Disney Sleeping Beauty was music written by Tchaikovsky that they took and they put in the Disney film. So his music is iconic and a really big deal. So he wrote Sleeping Beauty, and then Sleeping Beauty was such a success. This is 1890, so just before the 19th century, when the world is about to go to war with each other. And since Sleeping Beauty was such a big success, there was a really short story written by E.T.A. Hoffmann, who was a great writer, and he had written it about 100 years before, and Tchaikovsky loved this story, and so he turned it into a ballet, and that's the ballet, The Nutcracker. Now, Tchaikovsky, remember, was trying to add in a lot of national identity for Russia, and one of the ways he did this is in the second half we're going to see he ended up using a bunch of different countries and took snippets of music from that, and when he did that, he put in Russian identity. So I'm really excited to get to that part. Okay, so that's a little bit just about the ballet, about what we're going to hear. Today, we're going to have these worksheets. They look like this. There's 2 pages. And then I am going to be in the front row in front of you guys, kind of off to the side. You'll get to sit with your parents. And I will have these bigger pictures of the small pictures here. Okay, so just for an example, if I'm holding up this one, that means we're actually on this song. So each of these pictures is a song. So whatever picture I'm holding up, that'll let you know where we're at in the song, all right? Now for each song, what we are going to do is we're gonna circle, is this song mostly major or is it mostly minor? And I want you guys to circle which one it is, and then at intermission we can compare. And then I want you to circle, what are the main dynamics? Now, it's Tchaikovsky, and he's telling the story of kids and presents and a party at the beginning. So of course, there's gonna be a bunch of different dynamics, but mainly what dynamic is it? And if you see in the dynamics, we have piano, which is quiet, mezzo piano, kind of quiet, mezzo forte, kind of loud, and forte, loud. Then down here in this spot, you can draw something that stuck out to you in the music, or you could write something about it, like if you had a question like, what instrument was that? Okay, so we have that for the first act, which is the first half, and then the second half. So ballets usually, and usually concerts and performances, are separated into things called acts. An act is just a section of the music, and then you take a break to go to the bathroom and to get your wiggles out, and then you come back for the second act, okay? The first act starts with a party at Claire's house. So they're having a Christmas party. And the very first song, everyone's coming in, they're decorating the tree, they're getting some presents. And then do you see this coat thing? This is when Drosselmeyer comes in, all right? And he is the creepy grandfather. Well, he's not creepy. He's kind of creepy, but he ends up being a good guy. Anyways, he comes and he gives Clara a nutcracker. Then we have everyone leaves, they say goodnight, and then Clara goes to sleep, and what happens is her nutcracker comes alive as a living nutcracker and fights the bad Mouse King. So when we get to this section, I want you to notice Tchaikovsky did something really unique with his ballet. The big thing that he did in this first act is he actually used a bunch of toys at that time to create musical sounds. He wanted it to sound like the kids were playing with actual toys. So someone was behind the stage with actual toys making the sounds for him. It's pretty funny. But in the Mouse King, there's a part where it sounds like the nutcracker shoots, all right? So in the original ballet, someone actually had a gun and shot it off. And it scared everyone in the audience so badly because the world was about to go to war. So a gunshot was a really big deal, that people stopped listening to the music because they were so worried about a gunshot going off. So Tchaikovsky ended up changing it. So there's not a gunshot now. He then changed it to a whip. So what happens is someone actually in the orchestra, I think tonight's recorded music, but in the actual orchestra, someone in the orchestra has a long whip and and it makes it sound like a gunshot. So that's really fun. That happens in the Mouse King. You'll have to listen for it and let me know when you hear it. All right, so after the Mouse King, the trees, she goes to a wintry forest and the Nutcracker turns into a prince. And then they have the dance of the snowflakes where they're going through in her dreams to this magical candy land. All right, so let me just tell you one more thing. Right here with this little soldier, you're going to hear a very, very famous piece. It goes like this. Do, 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 re, re, mi, do, re. Do, 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 re, re, mi, do, re. That little phrase, I'm sure you've heard it before, is very famous. So when we get to that spot, I'm going to be holding up my hands for you. Do, 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 re, re, mi, do, re. And I want you to listen for it and pay attention to it. It's crazy because how many notes is that? Do, 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 re, re, mi, do, re. It's only 3 notes. And it's ta, taki da ta, 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 ta. Right? So it's not even hard rhythms, but it's iconic and it's brilliant. Okay, so that's act number 1. Woo! Act number 2 is pretty exciting. This is the dance where all the candy comes out and dances. And we are first going to go to the castle and meet the queen. And then we hear the Nutcracker and Clara retell the story of what happened. Then we get to hear chocolate, which is very fun. Yeah, sorry, my brain stopped working for a second. Then we get to hear coffee, tea, the flowers, the flutes, the clowns, more flowers. Oh yeah, the roses, the flowers, and then the fairy at the end. Sorry, I don't know why I chose that picture. It doesn't make sense, but we'll figure that out. There was a reason I did that, I'm sure. So in this act, what I want you to listen for is which one of these, I'm not going to tell you, but which one of these do you think is supposed to represent Russia? So remember I told you they're different countries. So I want you, while you're listening to the type of music, while you're looking at the costumes, I want you to try to figure out which one is Russian, which one is China, which one's supposed to be France, you know? Which country is he trying to represent? And then when you get to the Russian one, I want you to think, why would he choose that melody for Russia? Okay, so when you find it, be thinking about it. Why that melody for Russia? It's actually really important why he chose to represent Russia that way. He was telling the world, this is who Russia is. And Russia really liked him for doing that. And it still represents Russia. A lot of Russian festivals will play that piece. A lot of the types of music he put in it, you'll hear even more. So it's really exciting. I'm excited for you guys to hear it. Okay, so that's our worksheet for Act 1 and Act 2. You will have a pencil attached to it by a string, and you can fill this out. If you just want to sit and watch the ballet, that is totally fine. This is optional, but it is really fun to have. And it's fun to help us think about music more and practice listening for major and minor. Remember, major is happy, minor is sad, okay? All of that. Okay, last thing I want to talk to you about is etiquette at the Nutcracker. So tonight you should wear something nice, right? We shouldn't go in our baggy sweatshirts and our jeans to go see the Nutcracker. We are respectful to the fact that the dancers have worked really hard. If it is live music, which I'm pretty sure it's not, but if it is, the musicians have worked really hard. They're there to present to us a beautiful show with beautiful, beautiful music. And we're getting to see it in person with costumes and set props and professional dancers. It's really exciting. So wear something that represents that. And then the other thing I want to talk to you guys about is how we act during a performance. So you never talk during a performance. If you have to ask your parents something, or if you have a question about something, raise your hand. We can help you, whisper to your parents, but we shouldn't be talking, right? We need to listen to the music and pay attention to the story. It's disrespectful to leave and go to the bathroom except for intermission, but we're kids and, you know, we're adults. Sometimes we have to go to the bathroom, so that's okay. But if you leave, just leave quietly. Some other things that would be a bad idea would be like, I don't know, hitting things or singing out loud or yelling or pinching someone next to you. Okay, you guys wouldn't do that, I know. But just think about, you know, we talk about this in music class all the time. If you work really hard on something, how would you want people to listen to you? So all these dancers, musicians, they worked hard for you to be there and to hear this beautiful, beautiful production. How would we treat them? What kind of respect should we give them? All right, I am so excited to see you guys tonight, and I'm sorry dinner didn't work out, but this is gonna be fun, and I'll see you soon.